I've grown up as a Christian my whole life, and something that I always believed in was that you've got to fight for the kingdom of God. You've got to fight for yourself from the enemy's attacks and stuff like that. But something that's been highlighted recently to me this week, and feels like a lot of the dots that I had in the box have been connected today, was as fighting from a place where I can still feel peaceful, and what that looks like, where I'm not under the enemy's feet feeling like I'm getting squashed and powerless, but I'm also not reacting to him feeling like, oh, I'm sick of being under his feet, so I'm going to come out punching and exhaust myself and lose my peace. And how do I actually sit in a place knowing that I've got Papa, I've got God, and it's sorted, and I'm fighting from a place of victory already. And I was listening to a sermon this week, and one of the verses that stuck out was Ephesians 6, verse 12. Yeah, I've just lost it. There we go. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly places. We fight in heavenly places. We're fighting with Papa, not to get to him. We are fighting on behalf of him, holding his hand, not alone. Yeah, there's peace for us to war in. It's not something we've got to be exhausted in and go, oh, it's tiring at times, but I think the tiring part is that we're wrestling with ourselves, not knowing maybe knowing the head truth, but not the heart truth, that we've done this, we've got this, and it is done. The answers have been sent from God. They're on their way, they're in the mail. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, yeah, because this is the chairs for when I sit down and be still. My name is Mark Frederick von Blankensee. So there's my full name, Schnickelheim Koffenberger. We can add to that. But Mark Frederick von Blankensee. I was reminded this week, while I don't know what I was doing, but I just felt this God, what I've come to realize, that it's the Spirit of God that speaks to us, that wants to have conversations with us. And it reminded me of my name. Like, what's your name? It's like, Mark? No, what's your full name? Mark Frederick von Blankensee. You know, Mark Frederick. Mark means warlike. So I saw it. Where's Mark? Mark's here again this morning that I met last week. Mark, warlike. That's what Mark. I remembered Mark's name. But Mark means warlike. Frederick means peaceful. So I don't believe that the whole, there's this war inside of me pulling one way or the other. But I do believe that there is, I'm a peaceful warrior. There's a time for peace, but there's a time for war. Ecclesiastes tells us. And so we want to talk this morning to go, the church is not a knitting club. Turn to the person next to you, go, we're not in for knitting. This is not a knitting club. This is how, that's why the world got so ticked off at Hillsong Church, and the media in particular, a current affair in particular, got really ticked off at Hillsong because Hillsong broke their mindset of what the church should be. The church should be quiet. The church should be small. The church should be poor. The church should be a few old ladies. So this dilemma that they had, that the church was powerful, that the church was big, that the church was with young people, that the church was alive, was upset their understanding of what the church should be. And it's almost like this war that the media had against then Hillsong as a front runner. But the church is that you shouldn't be in that place of authority. You should be quiet, poor, lowly, and old. And so that's what the world. Do you know our enemies? Just so to put this out. Oh, wow. I need to stick to some notes. Here. There's been a couple mentions this morning. We do have an enemy, the devil. We do have an enemy. The Bible talks about the devil, the flesh, and the world. We're not going to get into that so much today, but just to realize we do have an enemy. So this is what the devil, Jesus said the devil, Jesus referred to the devil, so it shouldn't be a surprise to any of us that there is a devil. And Jesus called him the father of lies. He is a liar. He's been a liar from the start. So this is how it works. There's deceptive ideas. The devil goes around with deceptive ideas. He just puts deceptive ideas. You know the word perversion, because in the Hebrew language, every letter is a picture, every word is a comic strip. So the word, if something's perverted, it's a fence post, a strong fence post with a twist. So there's truth twisted. That's what perverted means. So the enemy that's his strategy has been right from the start. So the devil plants deceptive ideas. Then that plays into disordered desires. That's the flesh. So it's almost like as an unredeemed person has a hothouse of disordered desires. So the enemy puts distorted ideas into this hothouse of disordered desires, or deceptive ideas into disordered desires that are normalized in sinful society. That's the world. That's our fight. We don't fight against flesh and blood that Michael's just said. It's this, our mind, our ideas. There's this place where, that's why the truth, grace and truth. Jesus, John 1:14, Jesus was full of grace and truth. Grace leads the way, but truth can't get off the table. We need to love everybody. You've heard this already. Rose, happy birthday for last Sunday too. Wait. Is there anyone here that... The first 3 youth that come up and can have a crunchy. Happy birthday, Rose, for last week.
Thank you.
No, yeah, keep him. Okay, I'm going to stick with some notes. We should have a timer up the back too. We were away at ACC conference, and it was reminded that timers at the back to let people know how much time they've got left is a really good idea. It's something else to ignore in the service but it's still a good idea to have one up there. Okay, so I think we've all played this game, hide and seek. And the classic words my grandkids love hide and seek. They came over on, I think it was Thursday afternoon sometime, just for a bit, and straight away it was like, can we play hide and seek? And when I go home, I'm going to keep looking for them. No. I did find them. But the classic line in hide and seek is what? Coming, ready, or not. Coming, ready, or not. So I want you to hold that coming, ready, or not concept here. Who likes road trips, driving in a car? We had a few people. Who really doesn't like road trips? Oh, Ruth, not a road trip person. Okay. When you go on a road trip, I wonder, what do you notice when you go on a road trip? Do you notice I've got a friend of mine who noticed every expensive car. Actually, that comes along, he'd tell you how much that car cost. His son, actually, as a 3-year-old, could look at any car driving along, look at the emblem and tell you what model that or make that car was as a 3-year-old. So there's some issues there. But anyway, some people go on road trips, love the fact that they see the expensive cars, go, wow, look at that car. Wow, look at that car. Other people on a road trip look at the time it'll take to get to the next coffee shop. And other people, when they're driving, they'll look at the properties, how good and maintained or beautiful some houses and some properties are. So I wonder, when you go on a road trip, what do you notice? For most males here, if not all males here, you'll notice roadwork signs. Road work ahead, where you have to go back to 40 kilometres an hour for like 25 kilometres. You know, road work ahead is the greatest faith sign that there's across this state. Because the challenge is to go to find some road workers. They put a sign up believing that one day a road worker will come and do something. And the challenge then is not to disobey, because that wouldn't be the right thing, to stay within the limits for that space, even though there's nobody there. When I driving back from, or driving to Hobart and back, I noticed a few things. And I don't know if we actually get to tell ourselves what to notice. We just notice things. So when I was driving back, I noticed that there were new lambs across as we drove down through the Midlands, actually over the Great Lakes on the way down, and then through the Midlands on the highway on the way back. But I noticed there was new lambs. Some were older, stronger, having fun playing. There was others that were smaller, colder, sort of weaker. And there was ones that didn't make it. I saw the crows and there. And so I noticed the new lambs. I also noticed that there were some properties that had feed ready for those new sheep and new lambs, and there was other properties that didn't. There was properties, the farmers who had prepared the soil for planting in spring, and there is those farmers who I couldn't see where they had. I also noticed this time of year Deanne would go, "Aren't they beautiful yellow flowers?" They're called gauze, and it's a toxic a weed. But this time of year, you can see how much that spreads. So I've seen that some farmers have, through the winter and autumn seasons, have done work to eradicate the weed, and others who have let it go. And you can just see how invasive it is. So I noticed that. I noticed through there that at the cherry farm that they're putting up black netting in preparation to keep pests out, but to protect the plants, and so they can get a greater harvest. So there's some people who have actioned to get a greater harvest, and some people that don't seem to have done that. I noticed some grapevines, and the bud burst this week on grapevines, and I've noticed that some grapevines have been pruned and ready to go, but I've noticed there's others that haven't. And it irritates, like there's something inside of me going, you need to prune those vines. You need to. It's like, relax, that's not mine to own. But I noticed that. I'd rather not notice some things, but I do. I went into Bunnings and noticed there's Christmas decorations. Who went the woohoo then? You must have a reputation, Megan. So in Bunnings there's Christmas decorations. In Woolies there's Christmas pudding and shortbread and those sort of things. So I wonder what you've noticed. So in saying all that, I've noticed that spring is coming, ready or not. That spring's actually here and still coming, ready or not. The conditions as we look around, the sun, like this 2 weeks' time we go to daylight savings. There was ready or not, there was 3 younger people that went, yes, and all the older people went, oh no. So the sun's out longer, the grass is starting to grow. Spring is here and coming, ready or not. I wonder what else is yelling out to you, ready or not. The end of the year is coming, ready or not. Like it or not. For those who are studying, just for the joy of being reminded, exams and assignments are coming, ready or not, like it or not. We're getting older, ready, old age is going, coming, ready or not, like it or not. AI is yelling out, coming, ready or not. During the week I read an article where, as a warning to please, the artificial intelligence and the chat GPT, all those sort of things you have, they're not human. So you do not have to answer to them. A guy is on the news that his AI told him to kill his father. And it's like, or to do this and to do that. And so there's still lots of issues with that. So please just hold it where it needs. But it's coming, ready or not. Robotics is coming, ready or not. It's death that we should not fear is coming to our tent that we call this body, ready or not. I don't know if you've noticed that, and I'm not sure if I'm just slow on this, but there seems to be a lot more scams, the fake news, but civil unrest, like it seems to be coming, ready or not. Across the globe, there seems to be this tension, this wrestle, this like right here now, we've had enough. And there is a fight that's coming, ready or not. Cost of living is coming, increasing, is coming, ready or not. There's another generation of young leaders coming through that are going to rule in our country and rule in our church, have authority in our churches, ready or not. That's not a bad thing. I'm speaking to the young people. It's like, come on, it's coming. You need to step into that space. This is your space to step into. Ready or not. What's yelling out at you? Coming, ready or not. When you play that hide and seek game, don't you freak out when you haven't found a place to hide yet? Because I'm coming, ready or not. And I want to talk to you this morning about can we be ready and the choices we have. And talking about springtime, it's a new season. From the beginning of the year, we talked about autumn and to engage in what autumn is and its exposure time, to have a look at, to stop, to rest, to see what's going on underneath all the leaves of activity and to adjust those things that aren't healthy. In winter, it's a time to pause, to engage the wonder of a rest season. Because you have those pausing and rest seasons because spring is coming, ready or not. And if we're at the start of spring and you're going, I'm so tired. We didn't do autumn or winter well. If we did autumn and winter well in the rhythms of life, when springtime comes, we'll be going, okay, ready. I'm ready to go. And unfortunately, churches across the planet and in experience don't have a tied out season. They don't do winter or autumn well. They don't have it. Let's rest here. Let's take the programs out. Let's stop. Because there are seasons that then come that it's time to, all of us need to rally together and fight. And if we're all tired though, in doing that, we'll be in a lot of trouble. Do you know, I haven't got the exact stats on this, but for our August month, just through that August month, it was easier, I suppose, to see how those stats went. But I wonder what you'd say would be how many people were here for the 4 weeks, all the 4 weeks of August on a Sunday. Again, being here on a Sunday is not the end goal of the Christian journey. Gathering together as a church is a really important thing that we can do, but it's not the end goal. So it's important rather than being ultimate. But if there was less than 40% of our congregation that were here all the weeks through August, you couldn't run an under-6 soccer team like that. And then there's this clarion call that comes, coming, ready or not, for a small percentage of those who... Anyway, notes. Okay, if you've got your Bibles there, 2 Samuel chapter 11. Time. 2 Samuel chapter 11. Wow. Says this in the New Living Translation. In the spring, what time of the year was it? Spring. In the spring of the year, when kings normally go out to war. So it was the spring of the season when kings go out to war. So just real quickly, a snapshot of what's been happening before this verse. That the tribes of Israel, there were small clans and tribes that battled in a sense by themselves. And there was people in the books before that, a book called Judges. And they were liberating, freedom-fighting leaders who led their tribe against other nations around them. And they did okay, but then other nations got together, united as together, and put a king, and the king's responsibility, sole responsibility was to unite the people and lead them to war. So Israel went, well, all the nations around me had a king who united all the clans, who they fought as one nation, and their king led them out to war. So Israel went, we want to be like that. We had a season of judges, they did a good job, but we can see around us that we want a king. They had a king, we want a king. And then Saul was, who we're going to be talking about, Saul was the first king of Israel, and his sole responsibility was to unite the tribes to lead them to war. So then David takes over from Saul. He's the second king of Israel. What was his responsibility? Unite the tribes to lead them to war. Great. So that's just the background. In the spring of the year, when kings normally go out to war. Of course, why would they do that? Because that's their job. That's their sole job description. David sent Joab. The what? When kings go out to war, David delegated his sole responsibility to someone else. Uh-oh. Before you read any further, you know, uh-oh. There's some stuff that's going to happen is coming, ready or not. You know, there's some things you can't delegate. You've been given a responsibility to give God thanks. You can't delegate that to the worship team. You've all been given responsibility to have faith. You can't delegate that to your parents or to your life group leader. We've all been given responsibility to love. You can't delegate that to the welcome team or to the prayers or to those with the spiritual gift of nurturing or snuggledness. There's some things that we cannot delegate. It's our responsibility. The responsibility for your soul is your responsibility. You cannot delegate the responsibility of the health of your soul to your church, to your school, to spiritual leaders. Spiritual leaders are there to create the best possible opportunity and environment for you to flourish. They are not responsible for your soul. That is your responsibility. I wish I could stick to my notes. David sent Joab to the Israelite army to fight the Ammonites. They destroyed the Ammonite army and laid siege to the city of Rabbah. However, David stayed behind in Jerusalem. Verse 2, late one afternoon, so just read that slowly, late one afternoon, after his midday rest. This is not an 18-minute nana nap. After his midday rest, he got up late one afternoon. So the king, who wasn't at war, battling, leading his troops, uniting his troops, was having like a 5-hour or 6-hour nana nap. David got out of bed and was walking on the roof of the palace. As he looked out over the city, he noticed a woman of unusual beauty taking a bath. Okay. So the ancient kings, they had more on their plate than preparing for exams, than making sure there was feed for the sheep, that pruning the vines. They had more responsibility. When it came to springtime, their responsibility was to lead their troops, united troops, into a fight season. Spring was a fight season. It was a growth season, but it was a growth of them in their victories over their enemies. It was a growth in the land or the kingdom that they possessed. It was a fight season, and it was coming ready or not. So reading these verses doesn't sound like David was prepared. It doesn't sound like David was ready for the fight season. Biblical scholars and researchers put David here as a 50 to 51-year-old. Let's go 50, it makes the maths easy. So David was a 50-year-old. As a 50-year-old, do we have any 50-year-olds? Oh, nearly. Oh, wow. So we got no 50-year-olds except Ben in February. Johnny. I didn't see that hand, Johnny. 50-year-old. So 50-year-old. So he'd been king of Israel for 20 years. So he became king of Israel as a 30-year-old. Been a king for 20 years. Before he was the king, as a 14 or 15-year-old, 13 to 15-year-old, he stood up against Goliath. And then he was on the run after that victory. He was on the run from Saul and other enemies, where he was in the wilderness, in caves, and doing just having an incredibly rough life for 15 years, from say 15 to 30. He became king. 20 years on, as a 50-year-old, is where we pick this story up. So he'd been a fighter, a warrior, for 35 years. Tough season, had victories in the past. The last 20 years were amazing. Every fight they went to, they won. The enemies were scared, in a sense, even to come onto their land. None of their stuff got taken. None of their families got taken. It was a golden season. The Ark of the Covenant that was out there came back into the city, which was the presence of God, came back into the city. It was a great season. But David wasn't a novice. He'd been doing this when kings go out to war for 20 years. So the question's got to be, why didn't he go out to war this year? Which I really don't have the answer for. Speculating I can. But more my question is, how long have you been doing this journey for 20 years? Have you been doing this journey for 35 years? Even if you're young, you've seen, there's not too many novices here that are just starting this journey. The springtime, there is a battle. You're either going to be prepared for it or pretend it does not coming. They're your options. And I'm here today to go, we need to be prepared because the battle is coming. The fight is coming, ready or not. What did David do this year? Instead of going out to war and being prepared for battle, he hid under his bed sheets. So was he tired? Like, was it just tiredness? Was it just the fact that when they're sieging another city, they have to stay out into the fields? Was he just like, I've had my turn of sleeping in caves and sleeping in the fields. I've got used to the luxury around the palace now, and my bed is very comfortable. It's not convenient for me to enter into a fight. What was going on? Instead of David leading his troops and noticing how many enemies, how many fighters the enemy had, how many warriors the enemy had, noticing the terrain, the geographical terrain of where it's going to be best to have this fight, noticing the weather conditions to go, is it going to snow? We need to be here if that happens, or there if that happens. To notice where the ark and the presence of the covenant was and what God was saying there. There was a lot to notice where he should have been noticed as leading his troops. What was the condition of his troops? Were they ready? Who were these best fighters to go where? That was David's role. But instead, he noticed a chickie babe on a wall, on taking a shower on a wall near his palace. He must have noticed how comfortable his bed was. And just to put it in context, to go, this is not just some random chickie babe. David was 50 when this happened. Bathsheba was about 21. She was the daughter of one of David's 30 mighty men. So David's mighty men were like King Arthur's round table. So people sitting around the round table. So Eliam was Bathsheba's father. Eliam was a mighty man who'd been with David for this last 20, if not 35 years. It's like his daughter, who was married to another one of David's mighty men, 30 mighty men, called Uriah. And it's not just Uriah the Hittite. So Uriah wasn't even from the Jewish nation. Uriah was a convert seeing the mighty works of God, of the armies of heaven. He converted from being a Hittite to being a Jew. He left his old place, his old world system, and he came to be under Jehovah God. So Eliam was his father. So Eliam and Uriah fought together. And Eliam had a daughter called Bathsheba who Uriah married. So these weren't strangers to David. David, I would guess, David would have been at Bathsheba and Uriah's wedding. So it's not just a random chickie babe on the roof. David said, who is that? And the response indicates to go, you know who that is, that's Bathsheba. Uriah's wife. So David noticed something. What had happened to David in this season? Click back to 1 Samuel 17. Verse 29, I think it is, where David says, is there not a cause? Because Saul, who was supposed to be leading his united troops into battle, was hanging back, wanting someone else to take on this fight. So the very thing that David saw Saul do that he shouldn't have done is go, who else is going to fight this guy? And David in that space go, I'm going to fight. Then 35 years later, David does the same thing, sending Joab out to do his fighting. Something went incredibly pear-shaped in this journey. David was once, is there not a cause? The God of heavens, to give honor and glory. Who defies the God, the living God of the heavens and the earth? David was like, I'm going, I'm in, I'm fighting. I don't care what the risk is. I don't care what the cost is. I'm in for this fight because of the honor of God. So it's like from that to a contempt for the commands of God. He knew it was someone else's wife. He knew who it was, so he knew the commands. not to commit adultery, not to be jealous or envious of other people's stuff, including their families. And yet something happened inside of him to go, nah, I'm still going to do this. The fight was coming, ready or not. And you look through history, they never, ever recovered from what David did here. 28 generations later, they did, because that's when Jesus came. But it all went bad, pear-shaped, disintegrating after this act. So, what are we supposed to learn? What happened can you remember back when you first started following Jesus? No turning back, no turning back. Maybe you're in a baptismal font and they were singing that song, or in an ocean where the crowd on the beach were going, we have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. The world behind me, the cross before me. Rah! There was a cause. I'm living for the cause. And fast forward to now. We had a dream to change the world. Now we have a hope to pay the bills. How do we make it more comfortable? This war, this fight is not against methods. It's not against seating arrangements or song selections. It's not about if you belong to an Anglican or Pentecostal church. The fight shouldn't be the church in amongst each other. Our fight is for, and this I want to be clear about, the fight isn't against people. And I'm not telling anyone to be violent. So listen to me clearly. The fight is who is, the first one, the fight is who's your king. That's what this fight's about. David went, I know that the God of heaven is there, but he lost focus on what this fight, he made the call. I know this is right, but. Is there a fire, a passion? Can you remember that fire and passion when you first started following Jesus? Is that still? I see it still here in some people. And maybe not in others. And it really doesn't matter what I see or not. It's more what's going on inside of you or not. You can be quiet. I've had sometimes when you preached over the years, people like this going, and you're thinking they're hating you. And then after the service, they get up to go, that was the best message I've ever heard. It's like, it didn't look like it. So something happened where comfort or convenience, the cares of this world, overtook the cause in David and can overtake the cause in us. The first battle is who's king? Who's the boss? Like when we walk, like our words to one another, are you servants of the Most High God? That's what a girl in Acts was saying to Paul and accusing, who was devil-possessed, demon-possessed, going, here are the servants of the Most High God to show you the way to salvation. Followed them around all the time. So it's like, I don't know if that's ever happened to you. I'd take that as a compliment. I don't know if anyone's gone, you're a servant of the Most High God, showing others to the way of salvation. It's like, have you ever been accused of that? If we haven't, why not? We're servants of the Most. So again, going back to what the devil does, deceptive ideas that play into distorted desires that are normalized by humanity, by sinful society. Who owns you? No one owns me. Well, then you're not a follower of Jesus. To say to this world, like, who owns you? They would go, no one owns me. I'm my own boss. No one's telling me what to do. I have the right to call my own deal. I can call my own gender. I can call my own identity. I can call, if I want to be a cat, I'm a cat. If I want to, whatever, I get to call. It's my voice, it's my life, it's my body, it's my. And so that's the voice that's going out there. And then, but the Christian voice, our voice is, you're not your own. You're bought with a price. Not with corruptible things such as silver and gold, but with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Jesus has created you. God has created you. He formed you. He dreamed you up before. And that word means he's rolled his sleeves up. He went, John, I'm going to make John. What can I put here? Oh, yeah, let's give me some of this and let's give me some of that. And let's put this together. He dreamed you up and he knitted you together while you were in your mother's womb. Before the foundation of the world, he dreamed you up. He created you. He redeemed you. He bought you back. He fills you with his spirit. He empowers you. Like, you don't belong to, if you're a follower of God, you are not your own. You are servants of the Most High God. You are sons who delight to serve in the field of his Father. So Galatians 4, when the time had fully come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those under the law, that we would receive adoptions as sons. So we're no longer servants, but we're sons, where God's placed his Spirit into our hearts, where we cry, Abba, Father. So even though we're sons, we delight to serve. We are servants of the Most High God. But David went, yeah, not today. I'm pretending the battle's not coming, and I'm going to hide under my sheets. I'm going to live in comfort. It's just about me. So the first battle is, who's your king? And over this spring season, we're going to unpack this between now and the end of the year, but we're going to unpack this more because the battle is coming, ready or not. There's a battle for your soul. What's the fight about? It's for your soul. There's nothing, Jesus said, that's more important than your soul. That's what the battle's for. It's for your soul. It's for your soul here to flourish, and it's for the team can come back and for all eternity. The battle is for your soul. It's not for the color of your picket fence. It's not for an Audi, an EV, it's not that. It's for your soul. And your soul, the battle for your soul is going to be decided on who's king. Who's the king? And then what's the cause? David's cause became comfort. But the cause of the citizens of heaven is to bring heaven, a portion of heaven, to carry that portion of heaven to one person standing in front of you, to deliver a portion of the kingdom of heaven that is within us to a person standing in front of us, and to teach them to do the same. We are here to say our identity is we are the church. Jesus is our king. The cause is to bring heaven to earth. Because the devil has a cause to bring hell to earth. And doing a pretty good job. It's more important. And yet we struggle to get it together like an under-6 soccer team does. We've lost something. The cause that should have been the most important and is the king, our identity, the cause, and the culture, which means the Jesus ways. The ways of Jesus was faith, hope, and love. Jesus says in Luke, when I return, am I going to find faith on the earth? He's looking for people of faith. What are we engaged with that requires faith? Or have we got so risk adverse, because that's the way of the world. Oh no, be careful, settle down, get back under your sheets, pull the doona up. God's looking for people of faith. It's a fight of faith. It's a good fight of faith. But it's a fight. The fight is coming, ready or not. It's not fear. Don't take that as a fear thing. Take that as like, sheesh, I better do something. We need to engage. We're going to be engaged in the fight, ready or not. David lost the kingdom, lost the fight because he pretended he could send someone else out to do it. It's your fight. It's my fight. It's our fight. It's a fight of faith. It's a fight of love, which just is a fight to go, is it about me or am I willing the good of the other? I've got the other person's best interest at heart before my own. Do I notice people who are hurting? Do I notice people who are broken? And do I notice that I've got something of the kingdom to bring to them as much as they've got something to bring to my brokenness as a fellow sinner? It's a fight of faith, it's a fight of love, and it's a fight of hope. Hope comes from our words, the words that we speak. We are going on a fight. November. We can start before that. But November, we are absolutely going to have a fight against grumbling, against negativity. It's Thanksgiving month. So we're going to let the fruit of our lips giving thanks and praise to God, because it's our words of hope, our words of the truth that bring hope into our world. We are winners, not losers. Why does God allow a battle? Because we can be victorious in our battle as we hide. It's the fight to hide ourselves in Christ. Breathe, smile. When I was in Israel, I'll close with this, and the team are going to lead us in something. So what, in the sense that you've been hearing today? So what? Well, it's spring. It's coming ready or not. We have a choice to pretend it's not coming or to prepare for it. And over the next weeks and months, a role and responsibility as leaders of the church is to equip you to do the fighting that you're going to face. When I was in Israel in the end of 2019, I met up with a guy and his wife that were involved in some level of like secret servicey stuff, because they were very evasive on what do you do questions. But he's Shamil, that we say Samuel, but he says, I wish you Westerners would get this right, it's Shamil. But Samuel said, he asked me this question: who is your enemy? I went, New Zealand? We don't have enemies. And my bewildered look on my face from that question was the bewildered look on his face when I answered it to go, we don't have enemies. Because he said, we have got people all around us, stationed all around us, who want to kill us. Not just hurt us, they want to annihilate us, wipe us from the face of the earth. When you walk down the narrow streets of the old city of Jerusalem, it's like I noticed people didn't turn their shoulders. You're walking down and you don't want to, especially someone with broad shoulders, you turn your shoulders to allow the other person room to go. No one turned their shoulders. So I asked him to go, just notice this, no one turns their shoulders. He went, no, you give an inch, they'll take an inch. Every inch is important. Over the years since then, I've pondered that question to go, who's my enemy? And I answered that question wrongly. Australia doesn't have any military enemies on their doorstep right now looking to wipe us out, but church, we have an enemy. To say we don't have enemies is not preparing ourselves for the reality. It's coming, the fight. There is a mindset, a culture, a way of this world that is not the way that we are meant to live. We have a fight on our hands to go, who's the king? What's our cause? This is our culture. And that's not just for Life Church. This is for every person who says, I've decided to follow Jesus. So I'm asking you to finish this morning to go, do you know your enemy? Do you know are we clear on what this fight is about? And are we going to step into this fight? The fight is going to step into us, so we may as well step into the fight being prepared. What's our cause? Is there a fire burning? And it's my prayer that there's a fire burning. That you're ready to step out and to risk everything for the cause, the honor of the King. So, Father, this morning, thank you that you are here, ready or not, and that you notice where we are, that you came into our worlds when we were ready or not, that you initiated our redemption, that you showed love that while we're yet your enemies, you came and you sowed into us when we were ready or not. We thank you. We thank you today. We didn't choose you, you chose us. You chose us to be a part of your family, but you also chose us to be part of your army. And you chose us to be united under your leadership, under your kingship, that we'd be united and we'd fight as you do. I pray, Holy Spirit, that the words, the incorruptible seed that's been spoken this morning, and your Spirit would breathe as that seed gets planted in good hearts and good soil, that it would bring forth a great harvest. But we don't want to be a people who have pulled the doonas over our heads and pretending, well, we live in Tasmania, we're okay here. It's someone else's turn. I've had my turn, it's someone else's go. All the excuses and all the reasons that we can push aside. God, help us. I pray that the truth would get a blowtorch and just be like cut into our spirits and into our souls. Our minds would be renewed, that you'd be honored and glorified in our lives and all that you've called us to. Amen.
I have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus.